Hello, everybody. This is just kind of a quick last minute announcement on Ladder Daily Digest, as this is where I got a lot of my start and where the video that Carrie and I are going to be reacting to, commenting on, is hosted. It's been unlisted for a while. I've gone ahead and made it public if you guys want to view it later. But for now, just come and watch us on my little teeny baby repro rights channel. It's called When We Choose. This is something that Carrie and I are hoping to do at least weekly, have something to watch and go over and discuss. So we're starting with the first ever interview that I did, specifically reproductive rights focused. I know people who might know me from Mormonism Live. This is always something that I've talked about and brought up before, but usually in the context of Mormonism and usually in a more broader societal kind of cultural context, whereas this was just really just about this topic. And I have really struggled with advocacy. Carrie, it'd be interesting to hear. It's a scary topic, I think, to try to advocate on, especially for pro-choice, because it seems like you're the idea is that you're anti-baby or that you hate babies, kind of a thing. And so, I think it's hard for people to understand, really. There's just so much propaganda on the other side that's really successful, I guess. So it's really terrifying to try to talk about this. And I know people know this is important to me and just think that I'm better at it than maybe they feel. And I still don't think that about myself. You just kind of have to dive in. And there's so much that I didn't know at the time that I did this, which is why I'm glad that Carrie will be here because well, let's introduce you. I just kind of went on a roll and went going. So you when the screen's a little bit wider, we can see your book in the background. I'm just going to put you on the wide one there. Goodbye Magic Undies. So of course you should hopefully recognize her. If not, she's we've interviewed you once before on our channel, right? Or is that not we're still okay? And we're
Yeah.
doing it again. Yes. Okay.
I think it was
Let's
back
come
in
on.
October or December,
Yeah.
I can't
Your
remember,
book
but
wasn't out yet,
right.
right? Right. Okay. And now it has been out, so we're going to do a follow-up discussion there. And let's talk about your medical expertise that you'll be providing that absolutely none of us had on this interview, which I think is quite apparent. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I loved when I forget her name, and we're gonna get really familiar with everyone's name, but the only female on
Marty.
yeah, besides you, when she kept saying, "I just don't know enough about that." And so I'm happy to share whatever, information I can, clarify things. I am a perinatal clinical nurse specialist, which is an advanced practice nurse. I have been a nurse for 20 years. And so most of my nursing career has been in perinatal obstetrics, mother baby, all, labor and delivery. And I have 5 kids. I've been pregnant 7 times. So I have a little bit of personal knowledge and a lot of education experience in my career.
I was thinking about this. Let me come back on the idea of having to know much about pregnancy. Ideally, I shouldn't have to. And for those, if there's anyone watching now that doesn't know me, I have never been pregnant. So I've never given birth or had an abortion, and will never need to at this point. But um, as little as I feel like I know, it still surprises me how much more I know than the average person, the average pro-lifer for sure, even ones like Marty who have been through birth themselves. And I think that's why I feel like ignorance in general, but especially medical ignorance, is a really key component of the movement. From senators asking questions like, can an ectopic pregnancy just be moved and transplanted into the uterus? Just or there was one, I don't know if you saw this, there was a politician that asked and it was basically to try to figure out a way to fix ectopic pregnancies or other
Mhm.
problematic pregnancies ahead of time. He said, can't we do that thing where, like you swallow the pill camera where it can kind of like go in and look in there? And I remember this
Bless
poor
his
lady like
heart.
answering, yeah, just having to be like, um, the uterus is not part of the digestive tract, so a pill that is taken orally cannot be used. No, no, it cannot be used to check around and swim around the uterus and check what's wrong with the pregnancy early on. It's that kind of level of astounding, and it seems so ironic because I think on the pro-choice side, I you don't actually have to have any medical knowledge because you're saying it should be up to the patient and their doctor. It should be based on whatever like best practices are, industry practices, and of course that relationship between doctor and patient and what's best for the patient and what they want, medical consent. But the if you're going to be legislating this, um, I think that that side should be extremely, like, well informed, or you would think that it would make sense for them to want to be extremely medically informed on this if they're messing with people's health and medical lives. So
Mhm.
anyway, it's just another kind of irony about the whole thing. Thank you, Mrs. Fancy Pants. I just saw this comment come in here. So this is just a quick like, hey, we're doing this. When I end this stream, it is going to route over to when we choose. So it should, if all has gone right, just pop up right there on your screen. We'll have a little bit of setting up behind the scenes, so it might take just a minute for that. And yeah, we'll give an introduction to Porch Time if you haven't heard of them before. I think a lot of people haven't seen this unless you watched it live at the time. Um, it's something. What would you say, Carrie?
Well, I told Jean earlier today, that was my only episode of Porch Time I ever watched, and I have no appetite for more content from them.
Yep. Yep, I think that's understandable. A lot of what happened was really sad. I was saying to this to you beforehand. But we're gonna try to laugh at it. And there's some things that are pretty funny and just ironic, I guess, in a I don't know, bad behavior kind of way where you have to laugh or you cry, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I think um well, I was gonna say that's it, but that's not it. I have been ramping up ideas and preparation for content. So I know, like, I started this channel for a while, and then there's just been like long, like spaces of time where nothing has happened. Like I said, we're at least gonna try to get this started with Carrie, a weekly React segment, and then trying to put together more interviews of people to share their story, their miscarriages or abortions, or really just anything related to reproductive freedom. And that so that doesn't have to be about abortion, or even if it's about forced abortion, that's also very anti-choice and also very sad. And those stories don't always quite get. I mean, the pro-life side does get those, but I think we should cover them too. But then also just trying to keep up on the news and just debunking these ideas and these really tired arguments, many of which we're going to hear coming up soon. So that's what's coming down the pike. I'll go ahead and end this now. Hopefully, we'll see you guys in a few minutes on the other channel. And if you like this, if you think that it's worth sharing, I would appreciate that and helping to grow the channel and your feedback as always. Love you guys, love the support, and thank you so much. Carrie, any final words?
No,
Yep.
get your popcorn because we're
Yeah,
about to break
yeah,
it down.
that's awesome. All right, we'll see you in a few.